Generations of Americans have responded with a simple creed that sums up the spirit of a people. Yes, we cook.
We're going to make today a molten chocolate cake, which means they're going to be in these kind of individual cupcake-sized cakes where the outside is cooked chocolate cake and the inside is still gooey deliciousness that will literally melt as you cut into it. And then we'll add a little bit of fruit topping as well if we like, or some whipped cream or some ice cream, whatever you like on top.
Mark, you promised that this cake, even though it's super seductive, is actually really easy to make.
It's probably the easiest dessert I know how to make, honestly.
Ingredients.
Yeah, what's in it?
So, our ingredients for our molten chocolate cake, we've got some all-purpose flour, just a little bit, some wonderful sugar, some salt again, vanilla, eggs, and we're actually using 2 eggs and 2 egg yolks, so we'll show you how to separate out the yolks and the whites. About half a stick of butter, and 5 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate, and some espresso powder. And some delicious rum will also go in the cakes. So you're gonna start by melting some butter.
And buttering up the pan? The pan is like a woman. You must butter it up.
You know, just something that's gonna prevent sticking, which is actually very important. Alright, now we're gonna take our butter, we're gonna throw it in this pan. And we're gonna start that melting.
Now, do you want to bring this to a boil or anything? Or
No, you just want to melt it because then you're going to throw in the chocolate on top of that. So the next thing you want to do is take your chocolate bar. And we're using 5 ounces of chocolate. And this bar here is 4 ounces, and that's going to add us the last ounce there.
Who was the kid who got really fat? Uter. No, not Uter. What was the name of the big kid who ate all the chocolate? Fell into the chocolate river.
Oompa loompa doompa dee doo.
Not Veruca Salt.
I've got another puzzle for you.
The kid who fell into the chocolate river.
What do you get when you eat too much sweets?
Augustus Blue!
Alright, so there's our nice broken up chocolate. Karen has been collecting the pieces
One for the dealer and one for me. What are you doing with this? You're going to put it in the pan?
Mm-hmm. We're going to throw the chocolate in there with the butter.
And I've got to say, the nicer the chocolate you use, the nicer your results. So although we're mix and matching here, it really would be, if you really want to impress your lady,
which I do,
break out 2 bars of the gold stuff.
So that's melting. We're going to keep stirring that and let it get nice and melty. Okay. So now we're going to do something for this cake that is fairly common in baking. We're going to separate out the yolks from the whites. So the first thing you're going to do is crack the egg in half, and then you're actually going to go back and forth between one half and the other half, and let the yolk and let the whites drain around the yolk, because we're going to put the yolk into there. So then you're going to do the same thing. We're using 2 egg yolks.
The egg whites will make it fluffier than you want.
Okay.
It would become more like a souffle and less like a pudding.
Then we're going to add in 2 eggs, just straight up with the whites.
And that will make it rise a little bit.
Okay. Next thing we're going to do is add in some vanilla. So I'm actually going to get out and measure right now, because this takes some fruit. So we're going to do 1 teaspoon of vanilla.
Right.
And then we're going to do 5 tablespoons of sugar. So if you can grab me the sugar. And the sugar is going to do what to this?
It's going to make it not as good for you.
And?
Sweeter.
Sweeter.
It's going to make it earthy.
There you go. It's going to make it earthy, just like the beets.
What minerals are in sugar?
Again, a lot of phosphorus.
Alright, we're going to do a little bit, just a tablespoon of flour.
Also tungsten.
Okay, just a tablespoon of flour there. And then we're also going to do some salt. Just a little bit of salt in your hand, just about that much. A little bit of instant espresso, because this is going to give it some delicious kick to it. Just about 1½ teaspoons here. And then finally,
the Bacardi.
A little bit of rum.
Entire
you can use just about anything here. You can use brandy. We're going to throw in some rum here.
It tastes significantly different and better with the rum.
Alright, and then finally, we're just going to throw in...
The chocolate is melted.
The chocolate is melted. It looks delicious. And you can just go ahead and beat the eggs first before we add in the chocolate. So we're going to beat everything up. And then we're just going to fold. We're going to do what's called folding the chocolate. Go ahead. Fold it in there. Now, we've got our delicious molten chocolate cake batter. So we're just going to pour about that much into each one.
So you don't want to fill it all the way to the top.
Not quite.
Because it's going to expand.
It will expand a little bit, not too much. But you also don't want to go to the top because that gives you a little bit of, flexibility.
And this is a recipe that you can scale up like any other, so if you wanted to make a lot of German chocolate cake.
This is molten chocolate cake.
You know what? I'm gonna call it German chocolate.
Well, that would be
That's a
something
different
very
cake.
different. Typically, you'd want to let this sit for about 10 minutes. So we just throw this into the refrigerator and let it sit about 10-30 minutes just to chill.
But you don't want to put it right in the oven.
Not usually, no. You just let it sit for a little bit.
Okay. Can I show people how to put something in the refrigerator?
If you really want to. Our refrigerator is pretty full.
That never happens.
Yeah. So when you're trying to impress a lady friend or a boyfriend on the date here, you want to make the batter beforehand.
Okay.
Get it set like this and throw it in the fridge and just let it sit. Because the key to molten chocolate cakes delicious is timing.
Okay.
Right? You want to, after dinner's over, you've had another drink, you get to throw it directly in the oven. It only takes about 8 minutes in the oven. You pull it out and it's molten, ready to go.
Right.
And you want to serve it instantaneously. So that way you don't have that kind of doing things back here while she's sitting watching you.
Right.
So if you mess up, she never knows.
And this also helps show that you're able to juggle different things in your life, that you've timed it correctly, which means you're ready for a family.
Precisely. You can see how they're cooking on the outside, but you can actually see they're still pretty gooey on the inside, although we might want to pull them out here pretty darn soon. Where are the oven mitts?
Where's the shark? Let's get the shark.
Shark's out!
Oh,
Shark is
baby.
going hunting. Doo-doo.
I'm hunting for love.
Doo-doo.
Infants.
So let's pull these guys out. You can see, if you shake them a little bit, you can see they're still gooey on the inside, but on the outside, they're pretty solid. The key, if they're done, it'll hold together when you bring it out.
Now, if it falls apart, can you put it back in the oven for a couple minutes?
Yes, you're more than capable of putting it back in.
Get the shark.
Okay, here we go. Ready? Ooh, so it exploded around.
Molten.
Definitely molten. I think it could probably use another minute. I think it's just not. Oh, yes. And then just go ahead and scoop yourself some ice cream. Top it with some strawberries.
Ta-da! Molten. Deep within.
It's delaying flights across Europe. Let me try this.
See what you think.
Oh my god. How are you doing? That guy's looking pretty good right now. It's excellent. It's delicious. It tastes like chocolate and sugar and ice cream, strawberries all mixed together.
If you don't drink coffee, for instance, I don't do caffeine, so
Right.
you don't necessarily have to put in the espresso powder. That's no big deal.
Do you have to do the...
Maybe substitute cocoa or nothing at all. It's okay.
This was like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
No sweat, no tears,
Plenty of ingredients you got hanging around.
no excuses. Because this is really easy to do.
Yes, we
Cook.